This episode of the GameSpace Game Show is sponsored by Chimera, introducing true blockchain gaming to developers and gamers. Chimera. Think it, build it, play it. Hey everybody, and welcome to the GameSpace Game Show, episode 14, known as the Big PAX East Show. Yay! Everyone cheering. So, PAX East is this weekend, and I, as your host, Steven, will be talking with my co-hosts about what's going on the PAX East floor. Last week we mentioned that we may have had our editor Bill Murphy here, but he has been partying all day and it does not look like he'll be able to make it, but he may join us at some point. It does not. But that doesn't mean that he's not here in spirit. So first of all, I'd like to say hi to Dame. Dame, how are you?
Hi. I am doing fantastic.
Are you?
I am.
That is always lovely to hear. And while we're talking about fantastic, we can talk about Bowman. How are you doing, Bowman?
I'm doing awesome.
If that's your awesome face, it needs some work. You need to. That's better,
Guys, I'm doing like so awesome right now. I'm just so happy to be here.
as you should, because why wouldn't you be? So
indeed.
Let's talk a little bit about PAX East, because that's going to take up most of our time. Now, none of us were on the PAX East floor because we couldn't make it to Boston this year, but a lot of our colleagues were, and we've got the skinny as well as some trailers. So if you're listening on the podcast and you're like, hey, what are those weird noises in the background? It's probably because we're playing a video about one of the games or the trailers. So take some time if you can, check out the video, see what's going on specifically for those games. So one of the really big games that people have been talking about lately has been Ashes of Creation. Have you guys heard about this game? Do you know anything about it so far?
So I have not been following Ashes of Creation, but it seems to be catching a lot of buzz as far as being a new MMO. We've heard a lot back from some of our colleagues that are on the ground about some of the play. Steven, you can share a little bit more about that. You've got the inside scoop, if you will.
I wouldn't really say it's an inside scoop, but I will say that
it's an outside scoop.
It's an outside scoop. It's been outed because it was shown on MMORPG.com earlier today, and what it was pretty much the playthrough of our colleague Robin Baird. She wrote up what happened in the demo as well as a chat that she had with one of the developers. And she mentioned a few things that I thought were pretty interesting. One of those things happened to be that the demo that they played at PAX East consisted of a 4-player dungeon with each player playing one of the base classes. And the base classes are Tank, Cleric, Mage, and Ranger. There's no auto attack at all in this game, which I found to be pretty interesting because traditionally people consider games like that to be more Twitch based because you're clicky, but Robin mentioned that that's not the case, because if you, for example, click too much or use your very basic attack too many times, it kind of goes into a global cooldown, which it is a little interesting. So you can't just spam all your skills and hope to kill mobs that way.
That's how I win games.
That is true. You are big at spamming abilities, just slapping the keyboard face roll. So another thing that she mentioned is that I think Robin was playing a tank, and that in most MMOs it's very easy to gain aggro, but Robin was having a very hard time gaining aggro in that game. It seemed like a lot of the abilities that were mentioned had had a lot to do with blocks and kind of protection, which is not really what people think of whenever they think of tanks. They usually think of, hey, I'm going to take the aggro from other players and I'm going to hold that aggro. And that really wasn't the case. Go ahead.
So speaking from experience of trying to play a tank while trying to rip aggro off of your team members, that it's like, I really want like the Benny Hinn music, like that yakety sax playing in the background. You're like trotting after everything while it's while the mob is eating the mage, or in this case, the mage. Yeah.
And that's a pretty common thing. Is I remember games where you had to continuously taunt, gain that aggro, and from what it sounded like, you're chasing down enemies in Ashes of Creation, slapping them on the back, saying, "Hey, look at me!" And there was really only one major ability that we heard about that kind of pulls all the enemies to you and stuns them. It was considered the big global cooldown game changer for the tank class. Another thing that I found was pretty interesting about the write-up was that they mentioned that every area has nodes which start off as little camps, and they progress through 6 distinct stages of development until they become full-on cities. And the full-on cities will take the shape of whatever races are controlled in that area, or I guess maybe whatever race was attacking that area. I'm not really sure.
So I really like that idea, because that was one of the things that initially sold me on Guild Wars 2 when it released, was that idea of that there would be events that take place around a village or just kind of an area, and then like the dynamic events in that area would then impact that settlement. I really love that concept. I really love that concept of having a living, breathing area of the game, that the things that you do matter to what happens in the development of that area. That's a really cool idea.
See, and I like that idea too, but one thing that I found was a little different in terms of like what Guild Wars 2 was saying. Whenever Guild Wars 2 mentioned this originally, they were talking about basically what Ashes was saying, but the actual system as it is now, it's very limited in what you can actually do in the dynamic events or whatever. Right. So in this situation, the cool thing is that these cities will be fought over by whether it's PvP, maybe it's PvE. I'm not really sure exactly how it's going to work yet. But what was said is that players can tear down the city, take it over, build up a new city later, and it'll be completely different. It could be different races, different everything. So there could be a player-controlled area that might be a race of elves. You go over there with a faction of dwarves or something, you tear it down, and you start building it back up through those distinct stages, and then it's a completely different city full of dwarves or reptilian people. Yeah, whatever.
It's pretty much like a dwarven city of like, it's just one giant tavern is what it is, with like a mead fountain in the center of the town.
So the last thing that I would like to mention about Ashes, and we don't really have a lot of we don't have media for this because there wasn't any media taken for this by Robin, but that's okay because the write-up is pretty comprehensive. But what else was said was that if a player chooses to kill someone who is not flagged for PvP, then the player will gain corruption. And basically, corruption is like a permanent flag. So you're permanently flagged until you get killed, I'm guessing. And the more corruption that you have, the greater chance you have to drop gear when you die. So if you go through and you kill 10 people and then somebody kills you, you could lose a piece of gear. So I don't mind games where you can lose gear, full loot games and things like that. But I think that these kinds of this system in particular kind of has me worried, because if you've ever played a game like this before, you know that people who want to cause trouble are not going to do it in good gear. They're going to do it in probably the worst possible gear. You're going to see naked people running around. And
used to happen in Star Wars Galaxies a lot.
Yeah.
So a funny story about that. when several years back playing World of Warcraft, there was a zone in the Arathi Highlands in which there was an orcish farm that was right below, right south of where the Horde town was in there. And some buddies of mine and we played Horde, and we found ourselves overalls and pitchforks and hung out in those fields. So when players came through, it wasn't just the orcish farmers, but it was us in the fields as well.
Wow. That's and one thing I wanted to point out as well, Waffle Flopper is on our Twitch right now, and he mentions that he can't wait to get into Ashes. Now another thing that I looked up while I was kind of doing all this information, getting all this information together, is that you can actually get into Ashes right now if you want. It's a $500 buy-in. 500 500
small investment.
A small investment, and that'll get you into both alphas, both betas, all the way on through, as well as several other things which I'm not really sure what those things are. Or I mean, I don't spend a lot of time with in-game items. You know, most of the time those aren't that special. They're special when you first start out, and then they all fall to the wayside. So if you're interested in getting into Ashes of Creation right this minute, and you've got $500 just laying around, which we know that Dame does, he's just got all the
right.
Hey Dame, I need a loan.
Right. Don't let that rumor get started.
Too late.
Well, we know you got paid off to give that one game a 10 out of 10, man.
Oh, that's right.
Right, it's those Destiny dollars. I forgot about that.
Destiny dollars. That's right. So I think Ashes is going to turn out to be a pretty good game. I'm really interested to see what they come up with. They haven't even been a year out from their Kickstarter, and they're already showing some dungeon gameplay. And really, a lot of the screens they're showing in game are superb. So.
And I think that's a really positive thing when it comes to seeing an MMO that's in kind of alpha stage right now, and having that kind of content that they're able to actually get the press their hands on an experience with a game like that. I mean, I think that's going to prove some really good things moving forward in their development if they keep continuing on this trajectory.
So another game that we had on the list that Bill got to see, and he got to try it firsthand, but we didn't get too much information. It's called Rend. Now I have some screens that I'm going to be showing. It's kind of an interesting looking game. So the cool thing about Rend is it's not an MMO, but what it is it's a multiplayer game that has both PvE and PvP. It's a game built on 3 factions. It's considered a hybrid survival game. So think of your favorite survival game, and then think of it to be kind of like a faction warfare survival game. So you're kind of playing along with other people in your factions. Now, if you see some of these screens, it looks pretty good. The gameplay seems to be, I think that it's mostly third person. Someone want to fact check me on that one, Bowman? But it looks pretty fantastic. And basically what happens at the end of every season for Rend, I guess each month or every few weeks it's considered a season. And so what will happen in these seasons is there will be a faction that's declared a winner, and the other factions are the losers, and then it kind of starts the whole process over again. It's almost like Guild Wars 2 World vs. World, but you know, good. So that, I mean, that's what they're saying.
Tell us how you really feel.
Well, you know, we're not going to get into that.
PvP and PvE, Rend challenges the traditional survival game blueprint with the introduction of player factions, RPG elements, win-loss conditions, and massive culminating war experiences.
That's right.
So, hybrid survival game summons players to align with one of 3 factions.
So we have a question on YouTube right now from, it looks like Pretty Ian. And we're talking about a game called Rend right now.
Right. And another cool thing about Rend is that, like Bowman says, it's going to have like real style warfare. So some of the actual videos that I've seen of Rend, and we did a show on this, say maybe a month ago, it's actual like castle type of warfare. You go in, you take, you know, plots of land or whatever, and that's pretty much, you know, you hold these. It, you know, the more I talk about it, the more it sounds like a Guild Wars 2 style, just better combat and more PvE interactions, because it's a survival game. So you're also going to be forced to, you know, make your weapons or whatever you have going on, and stay alive through the PvE portion, where you don't really have to do that in Guild Wars 2. Mostly it's just like, hey, Zerg versus Zerg. It's not the same kind of thing here. You're going to be bombarded from all sides, PvE and PvP. So it sounds like it's a really cool game, but it is not an MMO. But it still sounds like it's going to be one of those games to watch. Are these the kind of games that you guys are usually into, you think?
Man, looking at the media page on their website, it looks amazing. So it looks like something I will definitely get into.
So I've played a couple of survival games, and you know, usually when I get done with those games, I usually hate myself a fair amount, because I spent so much time playing those games and feeling like I got nowhere. Now, the thing that I will say is that some of the best experiences that I've had with those, and I'm trying to pull up the name of the game that I played here for a good long while, but I think some of the best times is Savage Lands. It was a game called Savage Lands. And one of some of the best experiences that I had were those oh crap moments of, we just pulled this really big thing and we've got to figure out either we kill this or we are all dead and we all lost our gear. And and mistakes were made does not quite cover that one. Doesn't quite cover that one up. So
Epic
I think
fail.
Yeah, epic fail. So, but I think that some of the great things though about survival games is it makes you be a little bit more strategic.
Yeah.
With how you play.
That's true.
Because that risk reward level is kind of there as well.
So one thing that I like about survival games of this nature is it's not survival in the sense that, hey, you're dead, get off the field, you're done with. You know, you come back and you can still continue to play and work for your faction and things like that. That's one thing that I don't like about the Battle Royale games, is because it takes you too much time to get back into the action. And I'm really just saying this because I'm trying to make Bowman angry.
You're trying to incite Bowman here.
And I see that it's working a little bit. Look at it. Look at that little face. If you guys on the podcast, if you're wondering what Bowman's face looks like, just consider an angry raccoon, and you're kind of in the ballpark.
He knows I have over 800 hours in PUBG at this point, and I just got another chicken dinner today. Woohoo!
Nice. Well done. Well done.
Well, talking about chicken dinner, this goes into another game that has had a lot of fanfare behind it, which I didn't play, but maybe you guys did. It's called Super Meat Boy Forever. And did you guys play Super Meat Boy?
I did, yes.
My brother-in-law has Super Meat Boy on his Xbox, I think, because my son was playing it one day. I was like, oh my god, I can't play that.
We've got a couple screens here for it, but so the first game, it was like a platformer, right, Dame?
Yep. It was a very, very, very difficult platformer. Again, this is one of those games that falls into the category of games I play because I hate myself.
Yeah, just looking at some of these screens, it's very different, but you know, kind of colorful, kind of kiddie, except for all the blood that's everywhere, which
there's a lot of carnage, lots of carnage.
It's like stick death level of blood from a cartoonish type game.
Yeah, so and it also kind of looks like this is a little bit more like side scroller platformer versus, you know, the original Super Meat Boy kind of had your entire map on one screen,
right?
So you kind of saw everything that every obstacle you were trying to get around.
Yeah.
So this, I'd be very curious to see what they do with how they improve on the game from there.
Well, the cool thing about this one is that it's going to be on every single platform imaginable. So if you're out there right now and you're like, hey, I'm a PC gamer and I don't want to play it on PC because it looks stupid, I'm not going to buy it. Well, you can also play it on your mobile device. You can play it on iOS and Android. You can play it on a Switch. You can play it on Xbox, PlayStation, and the PC if you want. It's going to be on every single platform out there. So you know, it seems like it would be something that I will pick up for a mobile platform if I'm going to pick it up. Something that I can play whenever I've got a little downtime or I'm in bed and I just can't bring myself to lift my head. So, you know, it seems like a pretty cool game. Now, I don't know if the mobile versions are going to be the same kind of experience, because you're saying that the original was extremely tough, so...
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I am not sure whether or not I'm going to be able to do that on a mobile device, but...
Yeah, I would be very interested to see how they do controls for that.
Yeah. So
very carefully.
Very carefully.
Another game that that Bill had a chance to check out, and I don't know exactly how much he checked this out, because he's you know, in party land. It's called Relic Hunter's Legend. Now, this was a Kickstarter that started a while back. We have a little trailer that I'm going to play for it, and you know, I got to tell you, the cool thing about this game that I really like, it's got kind of like an animated kiddie art style, but it's a really cool RPG/shooter, and it's got co-op for up to 4 players, and it looks like it would be really fun to get like a group of friends and just go to town. Now, I mean, I'm not going to say that the graphics are, you know, anything to write home about, but it's like an RPG, and it's a game that doesn't really take itself too seriously, with some fun gameplay, especially co-op gameplay. So just taking a look at this, guys, what do you think about it? I mean, is this something that really you're going to be watching, or is this kind of like, you know? I
mean, the first thing that comes to mind is like Scott Pilgrim meets Castle Crashers.
Yes.
Which I'm not angry at that. It actually looks like a bunch of fun. Like,
yeah.
I would totally get a 4-man squad together and wreck some shop with this.
It looks like something that I would like to get together with you guys and just like do a run through. Now, I don't know how it's going to do longevity wise, but
sure.
I mean, did you also play Castle Crashers, Bowman? Have you tried that?
I have it installed, I think, but I have not played it at all.
So the answer is no. Now, I do like... now, what they're showing is that since it's an RPG, you can upgrade your weapons, you can do things like that. I also saw one ability where they were able to take cover. They, like, threw up a rock, and they, like, got behind it and, like, took cover and, like, shot around it. It looks... Yeah, it will not throw up, literally. But it's a really cool idea, and I think that in terms of like a shooter RPG in kind of like the you know, the top-down Diablo style, it's not really isometric, but kind of, I think that it's going to be a really fun game to play, and it's something that I wasn't looking forward to before, but now I kind of am.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's how this goes, man. You know, you get the PAX Pox, and you see the game, and you got to play it then.
Yeah,
let's just hope that it lives up to the hype. So it's looking like it's going to have a September 2018 release date. At least that's what they're kind of estimating right now. But
that's pretty good. I mean, that's a good date to shoot for. You know, and another thing that I was really thinking about in terms of games like this, like these Kickstarter games, I never hear about them until they're way out of Kickstarter, and maybe that's my fault. Maybe I should be getting into it a little bit more, because I you know, it's tough to say, because you look at these games and you're like, this may never fund, and you know, then they do, and you see what they come out with, and I mean, it's just amazing. You know, these games look so much fun.
Well, and then you have other games though, like Mighty Number 9 or the Metroidvania, the Metroidvania game that was produced or made by the guy who did Symphony of the Night, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, that is nowhere now. It's like, was it like Bloodstained Requiem or something like that? That, like, I want a good Metroidvania game in that same vein as Symphony of the Night. That's one of my favorite games.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like Kickstarter games with video games especially are kind of like hit and miss depending on the people who are putting them out.
Right. So, WoW interview. There was a big World of Warcraft interview, and this is going to be all written up on MMORPG. We don't know all the things that were talked about in the World of Warcraft interview
because we there.
That's true. Now,
Bum, bum, bum.
I did not play. I'm not a big purveyor of the World of Warcraft, but from what I was told by Robin, who did do the interview, the island expeditions for World of Warcraft will have normal, heroic, mythic, and PvP modes, and the NPCs for PvP mode will be at the heroic level. So you guys who have kind of played World of Warcraft, like, what does that mean for you in terms of the expeditions? Does that change how you viewed them before?
No, I don't think so. I actually really like that there's a bit of scaling with that. So basically, the normal, heroic, mythic is just difficulty scaling for that. A couple of expansions ago, they added the mythic dungeons, which are kind of a difficulty step up, and gear step up from, or loot step up from the heroic, and and same thing with normal, normal, heroic, mythic.
Right.
So having NPCs that are kind of at that level, I actually like that, because I think that what that'll do is, if you have, and this is where I'm talking a little bit out of ignorance, because I tend to be a little bit hot and cold when it comes to the next X pack. I'm kind of in that cool phase of my relationship with World of Warcraft right now. But I think that having that scaling is really good in the event that there would be anybody griefing within that, like in a PvP sense, because having NPCs that are a little bit more difficult, a little bit more challenging to take down, I am okay with that, because I'm not a big fan of PvP.
Well, that's pretty interesting. So I don't know much about the expansion pack. Bowman, were you looking forward to the World of Warcraft expansion pack, or you're not a WoW guy? See, that's interesting.
I started with Star Wars Galaxies, and then WoW came out, and it killed my favorite game at that point.
So you're still bitter. You're doing it out of,
I played WoW. I did get the free 30 days at one point. I think I played it maybe 2 hours. I just couldn't get into it. It didn't grab me.
That's interesting.
All I have to say about this expansion is Vol'jin is my war chief.
And for two people who did not get into World of Warcraft, it means very little. But you guys out there who do know what it means, befriend Dame, because he needs some friends right now in the World of Warcraft space.
I need a little bit of emotional support after what happened to him last X-Pac.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with that. I'm absolutely not okay with that, but yeah, it is what it is.
So I will say, as far as Warcraft's concerned, I watched the movie and I liked that a lot better than I liked the game. So
that's interesting, because there were definitely a lot of, we didn't talk about that game.
We didn't talk about
we didn't talk about that game to movie adaptation at all. It was like it never happened in our eyes.
Okay.
We're not going to talk about it now. We're going to come back around to that. What I do want to talk about is Omen Sight. So Omen Sight,
that looks good.
It looks amazing. We got a video to show for those of you out there interested. And Omen Sight is, how do you describe it? It's like a mystery puzzle game.
I was going to say it's like if The Legend of Zelda were a murder mystery.
That's you know what? That's actually not that bad of an explanation, because that's kind of what it is. So we're showing a little bit of the gameplay. Now, we showed this before. A lot of people were saying what kind of art style they use. It's kind of like I like to call it like a geometrical cell shaded version, where everything's kind of blocky and jagged edges, and then also very cell shaded. It reminds me a lot of that game Fae that I was playing not too long ago, with the little creature and the flying around and the cool. It's a great game also, but it's a very cool looking game, and it is definitely in kind of the same vein of Zelda. You're playing as like a main character,
the Harbinger.
Yeah, the Harbinger, and they're all kind of crazy animals. So if you're a furry and you're just kind of and you need your animal games, Here you go. Here's one. Now, I don't really know too much about the story, but from what I'm to understand from Robin, who did get to spend some time, is that these puzzles and these actions all come into saving the world in the end. So you are kind of like the big hero of the game, or hero of the universe, I guess, in some form. So how does that feel? I mean, looking at it, what do you guys think?
So it looks pretty decent for the type of game it is. I mean,
so I actually wrote a news piece about this last week on GameSpace, because the narrative trailer just released.
Okay.
On well, it was about a week ago. So on the 29th of March. Really neat looking game. So you play as a harbinger or a harbinger, and your role is to you're kind of this undead specter. Mm-hmm. And your goal is to gather clues and unlock this mystery of this murder, to be able to keep the and stop the world from ending. Really neat looking game. I'm very, very excited about this. I hope that that Bill and Robin got some hands on with that.
Yeah.
If they didn't, I would be very disappointed in them.
It's definitely a game that looks like it's going to be for those Zelda lovers, those story lovers. And it's going to release on the PS4 and the PC. So in that sense, Bowman won't be left out in the cold again this time, because it'll be for PC, even though he doesn't have PS4.
I actually do.
Wait, you have PS4?
Yeah, before I got the boot from work.
Oh wait, so you do have a PS4 and an Xbox now?
Yes.
I'm so very proud of you. You're moving up in the world. Talking about moving up in the world, I want to tell you about this game, because this game freaked me the geek out, okay? It's called Sky Noon, all right? And so the interesting thing about this game, before I even start, I got to know, do you guys like Super Smash Brothers?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Because this game, just watching it being played, reminded me of Super Smash Brothers in the weirdest Wild West way. I just could not believe it whenever I was watching it. I was like, why haven't people done more like this? And maybe in actual function, it's going to be a terrible game to play. But just from watching it, I just could not handle myself.
It does look a lot like Super Smash Brothers. I'm watching the trailer right now.
Yeah, so I'm playing the trailer too. And first of all, it kind of starts in the Wild West here. And that alone would normally turn me off. I'm not a Wild West fan. I've grown up in Texas and Houston. I'm over it. Okay, I don't.
He's got like a Batman grappling hook.
You're living it.
Yeah,
you're living it.
But the coolest thing about it is that you're high in the sky. You've got a grappling hook. You've got a pistol or shotgun or whatever, and you're running around trying to knock people off of platforms, just like you would in Super Smash Brothers. But when you fall off of the platform, you can use your grappling hook to get back on. Just watching the gameplay is insane. It just looks like so much fun.
What I'm going to be doing in this game, if I'm playing with any of you guys, I'm going to be the guy flying around saying, I'm Batman.
That's you in every game, though, Bowman. You're always Batman in every game.
No, because this one actually has a Batman-ish grappling hook.
That's true. It's really cool. I mean, you're throwing dynamite. You're, blowing stuff up. It's just such a fun idea and a cool looking game, because there are some games that are kind of following the model of Super Smash Brothers now, but they're kind of replicating it almost exactly. Like Brawlhalla is one of those games that did it, where you're not using Nintendo characters, you're using different characters, mythical characters, whatever. And this was kind of something where, theme aside, the premise is so cool. So you know what, Bowman, he showed a Brawlhalla thing right now. I'm not going to get into that, but if I had the little paper SWAT right now, the newspaper SWAT, I would be using it on you. But, I mean, what do you guys think about this game?
So
I think it looks awesome.
In watching the trailer, it looks like it looks like Overwatch meets Super Smash Brothers in the Old West. Uh, and again, like I'm not mad at that. Like like it's goofy enough of a premise that I could get into that.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun. And grappling hooks. Who doesn't? I've loved grappling hooks since Bionic Commando.
Just as a small thing, so the arsenal's grappling hooks, lasso, shotgun, machine pistol, revolver, dynamite, jet boots, teleporter, dash, and remote mines.
Wow.
Now that's just getting silly with the jet boots.
I wonder, do you know how it kind of, like, does it say anything about how these items are slotted? Is it, like, character specific? Like, oh, if you play this character, you get that? Or is it, like, you make your own character and you can slot whatever you want whenever you're playing?
It just pretty much says large arsenal of abilities and weapons, so it seems like
maybe loadout?
Character customization, character progression. So I'm sure you have to unlock some of it and customize it somehow.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Doesn't say too much else besides that, though.
I love the ability to kind of have your own character the way you want it and not have to use like a predetermined character. Even though, you know, Wild West, how different are you going to make a character? You know, everything's going to be cowboy hats and boots, and I don't want that.
Yeah, but it could be the difference between a bowler hat and a 10-gallon hat.
That's
so
true.
I mean, you know,
I would wear the bowler.
Gotta diversify.
I would wear the bowler. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm really looking forward to that game, and I'm hoping there's going to be a write up on it from somebody who checked it out. I tried to get a hold of Garrett, who is the one who tested this, so I didn't get to hear from him in time, but that's okay. I'm sure he's going to do a write-up on it, and I'm sure it's going to be glorious. So definitely check that out.
Yeehaw.
Not sure if it's going to show up on GameSpace
Yeehaw.
or MMO, but check out one or the other.
He better have Yeehaw in that write-up at least twice.
We're just gonna clip you saying Yeehaw, and we're just gonna play it over and over on the page whenever they go to it.
Yeehaw!
Lord of the Rings living card game. So I know nothing about this because Bill was supposed to look into it, but we do have Bowman here, and he seems to be a pretty smart fella. So what did you find out about this game?
Well, I did look into it a little bit. It kind of, to me, looks like Hearthstone, which is a Blizzard game. Basically, you have your cards. You're playing as the heroes going against Sauron. And basically, each turn you get what you would consider mana, I guess. You get another one each turn, and in turn you can bring out higher level cards to attack the enemy. So
pretty standard,
like pretty straightforward. Yeah, like Magic.
So kind of like just a regular card game that you would play in the Lord of the Rings universe, essentially.
Right.
But it's a living card game, so I mean, I guess you have to feed it and
water it, take it for a walk,
will pop out of their cards or something. Who knows?
Okay, well,
It's
I'm
like
not sure.
Yu-Gi-Oh, maybe.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. You know, I'm not really a big fan of those kind of card games, but if you're a Hearthstone fan, maybe, and you really like Lord of the Rings, you know, I think it's the right time to put it out because the new shows are showing up on Amazon, and I think that it's living because it's probably going to be changing a lot based on what's going on in the show. It's coincide with that kind of stuff.
And Lord of the Rings is going to be getting its own TV show here soon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So.
That's what I'm saying that to you right now.
I know.
He literally just said that.
I know.
You know,
but I figured you were talking about other things.
We really need to get Bradford on here to go on a little bit of a Lord of the Rings tangent with the living card game and the TV show and stuff.
You don't want me on the same stream as him. We will literally talk about it.
Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Now, do we know if the living card game is going to release on mobile? It sounds like it's something that would be a mobile type of situation here.
I know with Hearthstone it is a mobile and PC game as well. So
I would say probably
might
mobile.
Be.
You know, there's no reason not to put a card game on mobile these days. If you're putting a card game on anything but mobile, get out of here. Get out of here.
Steam for sure.
Oh, well.
They're
doing that just
I'm just double checking to see if there's going to be a mobile.
You know, the thing about these games like this, like I play Marvel Puzzle Quest, and it's different than regular card games, but they do have kind of like a card system, and it's also kind of like a living card game because whenever a new movie or something comes out, they always coincide new releases of the characters with these, with these movie releases. And I think that's really what they're going to be talking about with the Lord of the Rings living card game. It's whenever there's some kind of release.
So I found a new post from December 11th, 2017, which wasn't too long ago.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, this living card game, is going digital. Mobile version possible.
Okay. Possible, but not guaranteed.
Right.
Don't get your hopes up. Or do get your hopes up.
Yeah.
Get it on PC, play it a lot, so they think, hey, we're going to get some players for this mobile version.
Nobody is going to play it on PC. Nobody's going to do it. Card games are all mobile now. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there, Lord of the Rings fans. I mean, prove me wrong, but I'm not wrong. Sleep Tight is another game that Bill got a chance to look at, and this is another game that I saw. I didn't know anything about it, and then I saw it, and I was like, this is my best friend. So this game, it reminds me a lot in the vein of Zombies Ate My Neighbors, but it's not like that game at all. It actually is more like a tower defense game, but it's a twin-stick shooter. I'm going to show a little video, but you guys check this out. So it's releasing on Nintendo Switch. Did you guys see anything about this game beforehand? Have you guys?
I did not.
You did not? So in the video, it kind of shows like a kid drawing up plans for some crazy weapons, and you build forts, and you shoot things, and you kind of run around. Now, I don't know how big the levels are, but you're also able to build and upgrade things and run around. It may just be different levels based around tower defense, or you may have like an entire house that you have to survive through. It kind of reminds me like of Dungeon Defenders a little bit, but it also Zombies Ate My Neighbors. It's like if they got married and had a kid. And since it's on the Switch, I'm guessing
this looks like a game I will pick up at some point.
Yeah, it definitely does. So we have Jeff who wrote on our YouTube that says it's like Fortnite's early concept, which I can see that because it definitely does have that Fortnite feel. Very good call on that one, Jeff.
It definitely does have that vibe to it.
It's got like the zombies and everything.
That's the first thing I thought of when I saw it too, was Fortnite.
Really? Well, then where was I? Because I probably played Fortnite more than both of you, and I did not make that connection immediately.
Considering that I've never played Fortnite, yes.
Well, because they're making forts and it's at night, so
yeah, that is true. Whoa, whoa! It looks like a fantastic game, and I'm pretty interested now. My Switch is out on loan, so I don't know if it's going to be on any other systems, but if it comes in, Dame, I think. Do you have a Switch now too, Bowman? Did you pick it up? If you say, "Oh my gosh," he's just mixing it up.
Well, see, the thing is, I had a PS4 and a Switch before, and ended up selling them for bills last year. And then I was like, when I get my tax return, I'm probably going to get them again. And yeah, before I got laid off from my work or from my job, I picked them both up, and then they like, oh, by the way, it's like,
well,
okay.
And I think that that's pretty good to have every system because, I don't know if this is going to be an exclusive game, and I'm not going to say that this is a game that you buy a system for. But it's definitely a game that if you have the system, it looks like something that I would enjoy playing. It's a really cool concept.
Looks like something my son, who's 7, would like to play too. So
what are you trying to say? What are you saying? Like I just said I would like. Well, my son's 7 and he would like to play it too. You're basically calling me a 7-year-old.
All right, children. If you can't talk nice, you can't talk together.
I'm just saying it looks like it's a game for all ages, man.
All right, I'm okay with that.
What I'd be very interested in, and I really hope this is the case, is I would love for this to be a couch co-op game.
Yes.
This would be a crazy good couch co-op style game.
So good. I'm so with you on that one. So the last thing that we have on the list is Pantheon. And you know what? I know a little about Pantheon, but I don't know what they were showing at PAX East this year. Now, Dame, have you followed Pantheon at all? Not really.
No, I have not.
I think Bowman was kind of looking at it a little bit at one point. So, are you actually looking up the information right now on what they're showing at PAX? Okay.
Looking at the page.
I know Bill's pretty geeked out about it. Yeah.
A lot of people are really looking forward to it, and I do have some screens here. Do I have some screens?
Pre-alpha is available from April 3rd to May 1st. Woohoo!
Really?
It looks pretty good. Yeah.
Is it a persistent pre-alpha? Does it say? Because
Join hundreds of other pledgers during pre-alpha.
For $500.
Not early access, rather virtual backstage pass.
Eh.
PAX East 2018 pledge package. Get a whole bunch of stuff.
How much is it?
$1,000 or $100 a month for 12 months.
Whoa!
That
Wah,
just.
wah.
Oh, and we were just talking about
And
Ashes being $500.
The air just went whoosh.
Yeah.
All of this could be yours for the small price
Oh,
of
there is a lot of
$1,000.
stuff. Unlimited VIP access, pre-alpha access, alpha, beta, early name reservation, blah, blah, blah. A whole bunch of other stuff you can get. A cloth map that they'll give you.
A cloth
Postcards
map.
with team. Tester credit in-game credits. That'd be cool.
You know what I don't understand about that kind of stuff. Now I understand, collector's editions where, hey, we're gonna buy, we're gonna buy a collector's edition because it's gonna give us a bunch of different stuff and all that.
Right.
But for me, I would rather them forego all this stuff and just let me get into the game a little earlier if that's what I want to do. I don't want you to make me buy all this other stuff if all I want is just this one thing.
It'd be really interesting. By the way, hello Chris over there on YouTube. It would be interesting to see like an a la carte digital edition.
Yes.
Where they had like a series of like almost like Kickstarter does, right? Where you have like different levels of pledges where if you pledge X amount of dollars, you have access to such and such a package.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool. We kind of going back to the World of Warcraft discussion. We had a conversation in the MMORPG and GameSpace Slack chat earlier today about the collector's edition of World of Warcraft, A Battle for Azeroth. They just released the information about what was going to be in that at PAX, and one of the things that we were going back and forth about was the mouse pad. Like in collector's editions past, they would include like a collector's edition mouse pad. Actually, I have my not just Warcraft, but StarCraft as well. Heart of the Swarm
show
here.
and tell. Oh no, I don't want to see all that. Everyone, put your mouse pads away. You know what I don't like is whenever sometimes they do those promos with those mouse pads, and you can tell that they were not expensive mouse pads. Like they were, they spent like 75 cents on these mouse pads.
At the end of the day, though, I mean, it's a new mouse pad, so I'm not angry.
Well, I got this Borderlands one from Loot Crate. This is actually
love it.
Pretty heavy duty one.
Oh man, don't even get me started on Loot Crate right now, though. Yeah, we're not gonna get in on Loot Crate, but that some of these items that they're giving away, like a cloth map. I mean, come on, it's probably something that didn't cost them nearly anything, and you're getting an $1,000 premium version for something.
To be quite fair, there is a chance to win a VIP package if you sign up for their newsletter, which I just did.
If you sign up. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully you'll get it.
We'll see what happens.
Next show, Bowman comes in.
So before we move on to our next segment, I'm also going to kind of run down things for everyone else to look for. In the next couple days, we still have some staff that's going to be at PAX East. They're going to be checking out these things and they're going to show up probably both on MMORPG.com and GameSpace.com. So check them both, but Dead by Daylight is going to be checked out by Robin, Double Kick Heroes. There's going to be a Pantheon panel checked out by Garrett, Memory of Us, which I'm not sure what that is, Guacamelee, which isn't that game already out?
It's Guacamelee 2.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, look at that. There's going to be a big Bethesda, I'm guessing maybe an interview going on.
Man.
I mean, that's gonna happen late in the day tomorrow. So come back and check that one out for sure. I mean, who knows what they're going to say? I mean, they're probably going to be talking about the
Fallout game.
Yeah,
I was this close to being there for it.
And then Sunday we've got Memories of Mars and Underworld, which I'm not sure what those are. Robin's going to be checking those out. Thank you, Robin, for working so hard.
You are the best, Robin.
But now we've got to get on to the news because we are running out of time and we've got some really, really interesting news. And I'm going to tell this news directly to Dame because I think this news is important to him. The Harry Potter Hogwarts mystery game launches April 25th. This month, April 25th. And, it's not just, hey, we're going to take Harry Potter or Pokemon Go and turn it into Harry Potter. What they did is they also brought in some of the movie cast to do voices in the game. And, I think that it's going to be pretty cool. Now, I've kind of played Pokemon Go for a while. I think I'm ready to step into Harry Potter. But what do you think, Dame? Is this something you're looking forward to?
So it's interesting. I'm actually looking forward to it and hoping that it's another one of those like summertime releases. Because I'll tell you what, like in the city that I live in, like Pokemon Go is huge.
Yeah.
It was wild to watch just the community of people come together to play that. Like I met like a crazy amount of people. Of course, it helps that there was a Pokestop right outside of my office. So
Nice.
So like every 5 minutes, like walk out, like, okay, I'm close enough to the church sign. Yep. And I've got my supplies. So yeah, I'll be very curious to see, how that goes. I absolutely love that they have, Michael Gambon come back for Dumbledore and Maggie Smith for McGonagall. Oh, it's so good. So good.
And there's two other games that are coming out like that I really want to get into. One is The Walking Dead.
Oh,
and
interesting.
the other is the Ghostbusters one.
Oh, yeah. See, I'll
really
play the
into that
Ghostbusters one. As long as it's old Ghostbusters and not new Ghostbusters, I'll be okay with that. Now, I don't understand what they're really going to do.
We don't talk about new Ghostbusters. I refuse to watch it.
I only talk about it whenever I want to make you angry, which is all the time, Bowman.
Not making me angry because I'm never watching it.
You've never seen it?
I have never seen it. I refuse to watch it because they were supposed to do a movie with the original cast and have it be like a
the original cast
to getting new people
was in it, but just not the way that we wanted
as themselves, though. Not as the Ghostbusters characters.
Exactly.
We're getting a little off into the weeds.
We're way off. We're way off, and we don't have a lot of time. So, Harry Potter universe. Now, I don't know what the Pokestops are going to be in Harry Potter universe. They're definitely not going to be Pokestops. They're going to be something else.
The same thing as the Pokestops.
Well, they're going to definitely be in the same location, but I don't know what they're going to be.
Probably be a spinning wand or something.
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe.
So
I do know that I will be taking my dog Padfoot out to walk and play that game. So.
You know what? We're going to have to hear all about it. See if you can get him into it.
I'll see if get his tiny paw to swipe on my.
Those games are great ways to lose weight during the summer. I lost 10 pounds in a week just playing Pokemon Go with my son one time. So
that's crazy. That's craziness. We have two other quickies to point out. Divinity Original Sin 2 is going to launch on the Xbox and the PlayStation 4 in August. That's August. August. So we've talked about that game a lot. It's a fantastic game, and if you're a consoler and you're like, hey, what is all the fuss about? Well, this fuss is that it's an amazing game, so check it out. And talking about consoles and things that are releasing, Spider-Man for PS4 now has a release day.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm glad I have a PS4 now.
Oh, yeah.
That game looks so good. I'm excited for that game.
I'm gonna.
I was really bummed
hard
that this wasn't coming out on Xbox, so
you
definitely super stoked about it.
I'm really interested, and another thing is there's the Square Enix Avengers game that's supposed to come out at some time. I haven't heard anything about it. I thought it was supposed to come out sometime in this first 2 quarters, but they weren't at PAX East from what I hear, and I hope that they get it out because. As much as I'm going to love this Spider-Man game for what it is, I want an Avengers game with all the different characters and, different playable characters and all that. But
let me be Groot.
Yeah.
I think that Square Enix, though, was too busy revealing all of the Final Fantasy 15 news.
Oh, yeah.
Speak
a little bit about that.
We want Final Fantasy 7 news.
Okay. So, yes, we want that as well. But, okay, so the Final Fantasy 15 news is that they're adding mod support to the PC, including like map editor, level editors, and stuff like that. So that's pretty crazy. But the biggest news is that they are adding 4 more pieces of episodic content to the game.
Whoa.
that are going to add new depth to the story. I absolutely love this because one of the episodes specifically is going to be episode Arden. So you're going to be able to see why Arden Azunia, the main villain for the game, is why he is. I'm ready for that. I am ready for that. So Bowman is not.
Bowman.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Hey, I said nothing.
I'm 8 hours into the game. I bought it day one, and then I got other stuff, and then I got super busy with school, and I just started picking it up when I had no internet the last couple days. So.
Oh man! So I am incredibly stoked to see what they do.
I need to go buy a season pass, right?
Here's the thing that I'm not sure of is I'm not sure if it's going to be a different season pass or if it's going to be covered within the current season pass. My guess is they will probably try to milk some more money out of it, and it'll be a different season pass in and of itself.
And I think that's the other reason I stopped playing it too, because I heard they were coming out with all this stuff, and I'm the kind of guy who, if it's a game like this where you think everything should be in it at the beginning, I'm not going to play it until everything's released for the most part.
And here's the thing though, is that the game itself, story-wise, and I won't get too far off in the weeds, great game story-wise, even without the episodic content. The episodic content is kind of like the whipped cream and cherry on top of the sundae.
But does it all go inside the game, or is it like an afterthought, like you play the episodes after the fact?
Well, you have to ask yourself, is whipped cream inside the ice cream, or is it on top?
Yeah. Well, he could be saying that metaphorically, saying, this is awesome.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dame. I don't know.
That's why I was just asking, because if it's something that's going to add here we're going through this city, and then let's go to a cutscene, and we're going to do this whole thing really quick, and then we're going to go back to the story and pick up from there.
So there are a couple of specific points in the story where each of the episodes take place, and it's the episodic content is filler. And I don't say that like in a negative sense of like that it's not good content or that it's just throwaway content. I say that from the standpoint of it fills in some of the story gaps from the perspective of some of the well, I'll just use the Chocobros. You get to play through like what was Ignis experiencing during this point, what was Prompto going through at this point, etc. And so cool. it fills those things in a really good way. But even without them, the story is still good.
So go buy the season pass if I want to have everything all there.
if you want to, it seems like if you want to hear everything, that's what you're going to need to do.
Yes.
So we've just got about 5 minutes left, and it's time for plugs. Love them plugs. Woo!
Plugs?
Maybe I'll probably need them in a few years. Let's start with Dame. What do you got going on?
Sure. I've got a review that is going to be posting this week for a game called Warp Shift. It was a game that was actually around on the mobile platform, a really interesting puzzler game, really beautiful game that came to the Nintendo Switch, which I think is really the perfect home for it. So great on the go sort of title. So be looking for that. My review of the head cones,
nice.
The Rocat Con Amo just posted on MMORPG this week.
Awesome.
So you can find that there. And I think just really the only other plug is just going to plug my podcast again, Roll the Level. It's a running conversation about life, God, and video games. We just wrapped up season 3 and are looking ahead at planning some stuff for season 4. So
that is amazing. I'm so proud of you.
That's awesome, man.
Pretty excited about that.
And your name is up on the... If you guys don't know what it is, we have some cards that we put up on the stream. Just check the last couple minutes of the stream if you want to know what's going on. Or you can watch the whole stream again because you love us and we love you. And now, Bowman, what do you got?
Well, pretty much just I have a review that just popped up recently, GK40 MSI keyboard. I'm also doing a review for the Cougar Surpassion FPS mouse, which should be coming up soon. The only other real thing I'm doing right now is a review for Tuesday for Masters of Anima.
Excellent.
I don't know how much I can actually get into that because of reasons.
Because of reasons. Reasons are the worst. And then where can everyone find you if they want to find you? If they want to stalk you?
Did you get my card there?
I do, you got to tell them anyway.
I'm at Shinzon of Remus. Well, twitch.tv/Shinzon of Remus. Twitter is at thewolf_1, and Yahoo is thewolf1's den. I am still trying to get everything all sorted out, put together. So I'm waiting for Twitch to allow me to change my name so I can change everything all at once this time. So it'll all probably just be at thewolf1 pretty soon.
We could hope. We could only hope soon. And then
I had to wait 60 days for Twitch to let me change my name again. I think I'm pretty close.
We could only hope, but because, you know, sometimes people on the podcast, they can't understand all those crazy names that you've been throwing out. And they just, you know,
Okay, so the first one, Shinzon of Remus, you will get it if you've watched Star Trek Nemesis. Because the guy's name was literally Shinzon of Remus. He was Picard's clone.
Well, there you go.
Added one to it. So
in order to find you, just check out some Star Trek, right? Is that
seems fair?
Just look for Picard's clone.
All right. So as for me, I love plugging stuff, but all I'm really going to plug this week is my podcast, which is this podcast, and we have some fantastic shows back in the weeds there. A lot of good stuff that we've covered over the past couple weeks, and every show just seems to be getting better. So I really want to plug our upcoming shows and this show. If you're watching this on the stream and you're like, hey, what are those previous shows? You don't want to watch them.
We don't know.
If you're looking like Dame and you're confused on what the other shows are, get on your favorite podcasting app, and it doesn't matter what it is. We're going to be there. Stitcher, TuneIn, iTunes, whatever it is, check it out, and we'll be there. And then, of course, you know, I do have an article up about Guild Wars 2 on MMORPG. I was talking a little bit about that pesky meta battle, and how it's ruining PvP, and I've gotten a lot of angry responses about it because I am wrong.
Love angry responses.
You know, as long as we're talking about it, I'm happy about it. And
well, you know, Steven, I think we can all unify around the point that you're wrong.
Yeah,
it's a unifier.
That's fine, as long as you know, people need a great villain, right? So
this is true.
If it takes me being wrong to be a great villain, then wrong be I. But another thing that I would like to say is thank you to our sponsor this week, Chimera. They are sponsoring the show for the week, and definitely check them out. They're doing some fantastic things with blockchain gaming. It's going to be the future. We know it is. So check them out, find out what that's all about, and start earning some coinage. And for me and everybody here, I'd like to say thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.